Welcome back to the Mountain Weekend Show, and it has all been about Powder Mountain this weekend, and what a lot of fun we had on the slopes. But now we're in studio talking to Jeff Warbelow. He is the Chief Operating Officer for Summit Powder Mountain. Welcome. It's great to have you here.
Nice to see you.
Terrific. I am so excited to talk to you about all of the developments that have happened and the things that have happened in the past as well, because I don't know that everybody is completely familiar with the changes at Powder Mountain. But boy, have you guys had a few incredible last couple of years.
It's been amazing. Yeah. So we bought the mountain in 2013 through a crowdsourcing campaign. Elliot Bisnow is the co-founder of Summit. Summit Series, which is the event group. Met with Greg Morrow, who is a venture capitalist, and he'd been living in Eden, and he was seeing what was going on with Powder Mountain and developers that were going to take over and really make it almost like an amusement park.
Right.
You know, with just a massive amount of development. So we really did this to really protect it from overdevelopment and overcrowding. It
really was kind of scary, some of the things that we heard out there. I mean, everything from, we heard redoing the airport on top to all kinds of development, as you said, right. Way over the top, huge in the way of like right on the mountain homes that were extremely large, which was a bit of an interesting footprint there that I think a lot of people weren't looking to. You guys have really come in with a whole different idea on this, a different approach. As I understand it, one of the things that you did was go and look at other towns and see how they looked, and you fell in love with some, like Telluride and others, right?
Right. Our town is going to be the next generation high altitude alpine town, and it's going to be about the size of historic Telluride, historic zone of Aspen.
Yeah.
About that size.
I like those. Yeah. I think most people do. There's a different look and feel to them, and I think that's something that's striking about what you guys plan to do. Talk to me about some of that now, because already some of this has happened. I mean, one step obviously was putting in some new lifts and becoming the largest resort in America. That is huge by itself. Talk to me about that.
So, you know, what our crowdsourcing allowed us to do is really reject a lot of the corporate resort norms that you see around, where you have mega homes, you know, luxury brands, and like I said earlier, crowds reminiscent of, like, seriously, like amusement parks. And so what our development focus has been eco-sensitive, organic, modernist town, which has farm to table food. We have intentional programming on Main Street. What that means is we're going to actually go out and we're going to curate our tenants on Main Street. So we're going to look for impactful brands that drive positive global change in our intentional Main Street. So that's another change that we're really driving for.
I especially like that when you see what's kind of happening here in Park City, which is a little scary, in that some of those things that we had, which were organic, and that organic in the sense that they came here before the growth, are now being pushed out a little bit, and we're seeing some of those bigger brands come in, and suddenly it gets a little scary about whether we become seasonal all of a sudden, because a lot of those brands, they don't care. They just shut down for the season, and we see that in some of those bigger resorts. They come in during the season, and then they leave, and then they come back, and then they leave, and that means that summer is a disaster.
Right.
So there's all kinds of unintended consequences that happen. You guys have thought about that and have intended consequences that are good, right?
Exactly. Our community is really striving to catalyze entrepreneurship, creative achievement, and like I said, drive positive global change. And when we brought this community, it was an intentional community that was in place.
Yeah.
And we're developing the town to house our intentional community. So a lot of our community members are actually going to be the people that are going to be living in and occupying the Main Street.
Right. People that we know who like that, like Tom's shoes. That makes perfect sense.
Right.
We like that he's on board. There's a lot of great people like that. Tell us about some of the others that we should be familiar with.
Sir Richard Branson for the Virgin Group, Chris Blackwell from Island Records, Danny Davis is a snowboard U.S. champion. We have a couple of different, like Sophia Bush, actress, is also someone who's into social impact. Several people like that.
I like Branson because even he always kind of pushes that edge of the envelope a little bit, even testing out different fuels at altitude for jets, which no one else was willing to do. And he reached out there and was like, we're going to try this. I think that those are the kind of people that obviously speak to your heart, or you guys wouldn't be looking at them.
Right. It's a self-selecting group.
I like that a lot. Yeah, it's people who want to be around people like that.
Exactly.
Talk to me about how that impacts the typical user, like me, a Sandy guy who's going to be driving up there to go skiing. Why that? Why would that impact? How would that impact me?
Well, we like to mash up different social groups, right? It's not all about, you know, the wealthiest group or the one percenters. It's about people like who are striving to create a new business, people that are trying to create a new change in their life, and bringing those people together with someone like a Branson on a weekend and seeing what happens and what comes out of that. I mean, that's what this whole community is about, is networking and bringing those people together and see what positive outcomes can come out of those relationships.
Wow. You guys got to be pretty proud of all this. I mean, the growth so far is certainly like that. I mean, things are very different there than any other place. I mean, where else can you literally ski anything that's open and end up at the road and get picked up by a bus to go back to the top?
It's extraordinary.
It's different.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely extraordinary. And you mentioned the lifts earlier. We just opened up the 2 new lifts yesterday. Been working on that for the last year. And what that did was it opened up 1,000+ acres of new skiable terrain, and it actually put the skier in our town, in our main street. And we're creating a high line which is going to allow you to ski from the top of the new lift all the way through the town, through the hotels, and through the village, which is another, I think, a unique opportunity for us up there.
Wow, that's really something. Now, you certainly have lots of challenges with the place. I mean, it is a steep road. It is, you know, there's all kinds of things like wind and you know, incredible snow that comes with that, which is terrific. Talk to me about some of the things that you guys have encountered so far that are like, well, but we're gonna get through this. It's exciting. Makes it a little more unique.
Well, you mentioned, I mean, we're at 8,600 feet.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not something that's never been attempted before. Like, we modeled ourselves after the Swiss town of Bingen, which is a high altitude town. Telluride is at 8,750. Right. We're at 8,600. We're really in a really great position with Weber County. They're collaborating with us as partners. They did a municipal bond backing with us, which allowed us to put 6 miles of road and infrastructure in together.
Wow.
I work with them every single week on the snow removal, which is a challenge.
That is the part of that wind that is a little bit of a challenge.
Exactly. So we're working with them on buying resources and making sure that we can get all the snow cleared and creating different logistical patterns so we can avoid some of the things we encounter here in town.
I like that because it means that you guys are preparing for the long-term future of it. You know, how do you get all the equipment you need? How do you make sure that this is, as you said, low impact? And you're looking, a lot of forward thinking. One last part about that I want to talk about. These houses, we mentioned the different, I mean, we have a lot different footprint on homes up here in Park City. You guys are going for a lot smaller size. Talk to me about that for a minute.
So we intentionally limited the above ground at 4,500 square feet. You know, we're rejecting the mega home model that we see in town. That's great for some people, but it's not for who we're trying to attract to our town. You know, we're trying to be a little bit more humble. We're trying to be eco-sensitive and reduce our footprint. We actually have some homes that are as small as 200 square feet. Like standalone single-family residential homes are 200 square feet.
Will you sign me up for one of those? Because that sounds ideal.
They're awesome. And actually what we're going to do is we're going to try to populate our main street with that as well. And what that does is it's going to allow people that aren't multimillionaires to come in town at a, you know, at a price point that they can afford. And we're going to bring in all that energy and that activity for people across the spectrum.
Well, sign me up. Like I said, I'll take one of those 200 square footers. That sounds like a great mine shack. Perfect for me and my family. This is one of my favorite places to go and ski. We had such a great time filming the weekend show with you guys. And thanks always for just a great partnership with Park City Television. We sure appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having me.
All right. It's Powder Mountain, and you've got to check it out. So many new things coming online. Already you see a lot of exciting changes there, including, of course, those new lifts and all that new terrain, a lot of great new snowcat riding. There is a lot of POW to be had at Powwow. We'll be back with more here on the Mountain Weekend Show right after these messages.